All right, what's up, everyone? We are here with All Ears episode 2. For episode 2, we're going to talk about the Disney College Program.
Woo!
First, we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm Nico, aka Co-World.
And I'm Rachel, aka Waltzing Around.
Yeah, so if you guys listened to our first episode, briefly during our intros, we mentioned that we both did the Disney College Program in spring of 2018. So we thought, since that's where we met and that's where this all started, we're going to go into detail of what the Disney College Program is for anyone curious about doing the program. And we're going to go through pretty much everything through it. Since there's so much to go over, we're going to make it a 3-episode series. So we're going to start off this episode with just some general information. What is the Disney College Program? The application process with some tips. And then we're going to go into the roles that you can do with the
So the first thing we're going to talk about is what is the Disney College Program, which is the question I got the most when I said that I was going on it. Everyone asked me, what the heck is this? What are you actually doing?
Oh yeah, when you do, after you do the Disney College Program or before you do it, everyone's going to ask, what was that? What is the Disney College Program? So we've gone through this process of explaining generally what the Disney College Program is many times.
Many
and we're going to go into deep detail in here to answer hopefully any questions you guys may have for anyone who's interested in applying.
Absolutely. So the first thing to know about the Disney College Program is it is a paid internship. So most colleges will give you credit for it. It depends on your school. Sometimes you kind of have to fight for it.
I wouldn't say most colleges would give credit.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I had an issue with it, but I ended up doing it in the end.
So when I was actually applying for colleges, I didn't really know what college I want to go to, but I knew I wanted to do the Disney College Program.
Me
so
too.
I literally emailed. I had this email layout that I emailed to all my colleges I was applying to, and said, do you give credit for the Disney College Program? I got 3 credits of internship credit.
Okay.
But that's not it. Some people get a whole semester, like 15 credits worth. Some people get 0. So it really depends on your college.
I fulfilled my internship credit with the Disney College Program.
How many credits did you get?
I don't remember exactly how many credits it was, but I know that I'm set. I should do another internship, but I'm set with the Disney College Program.
So basically, very quick summary of what the Disney College Program is. It's basically a 5 to 7 month internship where you work the frontline jobs that you see when you go to the parks and the resorts, where you go work in Disney World or Disneyland. And the program is a lot bigger in Disney World, which was where we worked, or you can work in Disneyland too. So we're going to go over all those roles of what you can possibly work during your Disney College Program.
So the 3 most important things to know about the Disney College Program, besides it being a paid internship, is their whole slogan is living, learning, and earning. So that means that you do live in Disney World, kind of outside the gates of Disney Springs, usually. And then learning, so it's optional. You can sign up for classes taught by Disney. You have seminars, and then you have college credit courses, which not all schools take. Mine didn't. And then I think that's it, right? Seminars and college courses. I think that's it. And then earning, which is the thing you'll be doing the most while you're there. And that's working a frontline job in Walt Disney World Resort or Disneyland, which is a lot less people, but still people. So if you look on the Disney College Program website, the official description is this truly unique 5 to 7 month program allows participants to network with leaders, take part in personal and career development classes, and build transferable skills such as problem solving, teamwork, guest service, and effective communication. I think that's kind of a good description. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good description. So we're going to go into the actual application process, which is very important. So there's basically 3 phases of the application process, all in order that we're going to mention right here. So the first is the initial phase, which is going to be an online application that you fill out on the Disney College. You can find through the Disney College Program website. So basically, through this application, you just put your basic information, your name, your university you go to, and then you'll find the next page where you get to fill out what roles you're interested in. They're going to put a whole list of all the roles that they offer to, which we're going to go more in depth at the end, and then you're going to say how interested you are in applying for that role. So you can put highly interested, moderately or no interest.
You also input a resume into it as well. And then there's a little section underneath what you write, what you did on that job, and it'll say, what did you learn from this, or what were your key skills learned from this? And that's a really good place to put your buzzwords for what you think Disney is going to value the most when they're picking out applications to advance to the next round. So my tip for the initial application is do your research. And this is actually not hard if you're the kind of person who likes to watch videos on YouTube or listen to podcasts, because that's essentially all I did researching for the Disney College Program. I watched video after video after video, and I feel like after watching enough videos, you kind of just get the gist of what Disney is looking for. Yeah, that's my tip.
So my tip for applying during the initial process is to be honest about each role when you say your interest that you're in for it. So you don't want to say, I am highly interested in custodial because, that's a highly sought after job by Disney, but not want to actually do it. Because when you get the offer from your offer letter, you get custodial. You can't say, hey, I actually lied and don't want to do that. Can you give me something else?
And if you put high interest in custodial, you're going to get custodial.
Yeah, we'll definitely go into that a little later.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, be honest about it. If you can't see yourself doing the job, then don't say you're interested in doing it.
I think that's a really good tip that people don't listen to enough, because most people, when they're first applying to the Disney College Program, they just kind of, yes, I want to do that and that and that and that, and they go down the list and press yes for everything, and they end up getting something they didn't want at all, and turning it down, which is a huge bummer.
And I'm pretty sure in this application process, they do have a section where they say these are highly sought after roles by Disney, or in high demand by Disney.
As in, like, the high demand jobs?
Yeah.
They specify that?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't remember that. Huh. But,
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. Definitely.
I remember they said it for custodial and quick service food and beverage.
Oh, okay. Not housekeeping?
I don't know. No, I don't remember.
Okay. Because I feel like housekeeping is probably the highest demand role. I mean, that's a hot take, but...
It's a hot take. During our program, they sent out an email at the very beginning of the program saying, does anyone want to transfer to housekeeping? We'll give you a $2,000 bonus.
$2,000 bonus right on the spot if you transfer
and
right
you get
now.
tips. So you would be making a lot more money.
But you would hate it.
Not a lot of people love it. So...
Yeah, it's another hot take. Sorry, but I have not heard of anyone who enjoyed being in housekeeping. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm sticking to that. So if you make it past the initial application, you'll get an email asking you to fill out what we call the WBI, but is the web-based interview. And this is kind of like a personality test to see if you have what it takes, in Disney's opinion, to be a cast member.
So it's not an actual webcam interview, like a face-to-face with someone.
It's like
just
multiple
gonna be
choice.
A computer asking you questions on a multiple choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll basically be the layout of the questions. We'll ask you, what would you do in this situation, or,
Yeah, one of them is like, I like the occasional party. And then it's like highly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, or highly agree.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest one for me. I had no idea what to put. I was so stressed about it, but it ended up being fine. Speaking of, you want to say your tip?
Yeah. So basically, like I said, this is just a computer asking you questions, and don't stress about it at all, really. It's just if you use common sense and you think in the Disney way, what would they want to hear? That will be basically, you'll get through it. And they have an algorithm of how many they think is an approved right answer, and they usually give you an answer right after it, right? If you passed or not.
Yeah. You right when
so
you press the last submit
that's kind
button.
of intense.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit that submit, okay,
really
here,
scary.
schedule your phone interview next,
Or sorry.
Thanks for your interest.
Yeah. My tip is very similar, but also a little bit different. And I actually think that our tips kind of show our personalities, because I get really, really nervous about these things and overthink and overplan. So mine is just think like a cast member, because every time I took that test, I overthought it, and I ended up being fine every time, but I shouldn't have. And thinking like a cast member is really not hard. It's just be a positive person who is very aware of safety and wants everyone to have a good time. Essentially, it's nothing that you need to overthink. Just be your best self. That's my tip. Yeah. That's my biggest tip.
Solid.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to move on to the phone interview, which is the last stage of the interview. So after you finish the WBI, you'll get a chance to set up your phone interview if you pass with your date and time. So definitely pick a time that is very convenient for you.
Leave yourself like a 2-hour window.
Yeah, and they put a warning like saying we can call you within 30 minutes before or after your interview.
Is it 30 or 15?
Something like that.
I think it was 15. I think it's a 15 window. Yeah, so they can call you 15 minutes before the window opens or 15 after. So I think the first time they were like 13 minutes late and I was terrified. And the second time I did it, they were like a couple minutes early. So I mean it really depends on their schedule. So just be prepared.
Yeah, so this is the big part of the interview.
The big one, yeah.
The phone interview is where you actually are talking to a real person,
a cast member
who's a recruiter, and they're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and this is how they really get a feel of if you fit the Disney, what they want to work for Disney.
And also, the structure of the phone interview I found is the same every time. So the first half of the interview is just going to be a bunch of yes and no questions, like do you understand this and this? Yeah, every single phone interview. The beginning is this information correct about your application? Do you know what the Disney look is?
Oh, yeah.
That section.
Yeah,
and then after that chunk of information is over, you go into the questions. So for my tip for the phone interview, I 1,000% recommend this. I tell everyone that asks me for tips about this one specifically. I think that cheat sheets goes a long way. So when I did cheat sheets, both my phone interviews, I wrote down all the roles that I was interested in, plus a list of all the roles in general. And then I wrote a little bit about my application and what I thought Disney would look for in the roles that I had before. And then I wrote like very shorthand beginnings of sentences to the questions I thought they were going to ask me. So I just felt not so that I would read off the sheet, because they can tell if you're reading off a piece of paper, but enough to where you can look at it, remember what you were thinking, and then just run with it. And another thing to add on your cheat sheet is a little spot in the corner that says name of my interviewer, and write your interviewer's name down, because it's important to know that Disney is a first name company, and they always want you to remember the name of the guests you're talking to. So during your interview, learn your interviewer's name and use that name. Yeah, that's my tip.
Yeah, definitely do your research with this one too. If you watch there's a lot of YouTube videos where people actually recorded their interview.
I recorded mine.
Yeah, and you can find them online pretty easily of questions that are commonly asked on a phone interview. So some of them, Rachel said that they always ask basically some form of this question of why do you want to be part of the Disney College Program?
We call it the why DCP question.
Yeah, so
be prepared for that one.
You should have an answer if you're applying.
You should.
Of why you're applying for this internship. So
yeah. There's also the how do you think Disney can help you professionally and personally? Yeah. And they'll always ask, not always, but most of the time they'll ask one of those two. I got both of them actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got professionally the first time, and then I got personally the second time, which was interesting. So that's another big one. Also, I don't know if you ever knew about this, but there is a complete Google Doc of every single question that's ever been asked during a phone interview, floating around somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
How do they even get all that data?
Because it's a bunch of people who go to the document and write down their questions after.
So not like every question.
Well, not every question, but like a ton of people. I remember it being over 20 pages, I think. So if you're in like a prospective Disney College Program Facebook group, I bet you could find that document.
I was not that intense about doing research. I know that's my tip, and I'll explain how I prepared it at the end. But
yeah, I'm a prepper, so I did.
I did have a cheat sheet though. I definitely did.
And cheat sheet is honestly the most important thing.
I think 2 pages. Rachel's probably like And
No, it wasn't. I made it really short so that I wouldn't sound rehearsed. It was just a front page that I taped up to my wall so I could look at it while I was talking.
I know for some of mine, I did take some of these commonly asked questions and put like bullet points of how I would answer.
Yeah, that's essentially what I did too.
Yeah.
Also, this is kind of dumb, but most people tell you to smile during your interview, because you can hear when someone's smiling in their voice, and I did that every time. And it just kind of made me feel a little bit more cast member ready. So I would recommend smiling. I think it's
I did that too.
sweet
I heard that tip, and I did that as well. And one of my other tips was to be positive and professional. You have to be positive because that's if we go to Disney World, most of the cast members, especially if it's if they're having a good day, they'll be preppy, positive. Disney's known for having the best customer service, so and a lot of that all comes from our frontline cast members who interact one-on-one with the guest. And be professional. Remember that this is an interview for a real job or internship, so you're working for one of the most well-known companies in the entire world at the most popular tourist spot in the world. So they're not just going to hire everyone. Like I said, they have the best customer service, and they want to hire the best to keep that.
I also smile and have a good time. You know, they're nice.
Don't be too stressed. They do ask you some fun questions. Like I know they asked me, "What's my favorite ride in the parks?" And why? Who's my favorite Disney character? They'll ask you.
Oh, that's fun. I got what my favorite park was. That was a good
I got that one too.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yep.
Also, I have so many tips. It's a good idea to have questions prepared for your interviewer at the end because they ask at the end of every single interviewer or after every single interview, do you have any questions for me? And it's just a little more professional if you do have questions.
Yeah, and it lets you build more of a relationship with your interviewer. And if you ask a good question and keep that conversation going, your interviewer will remember you and say, oh, I actually remember when I talked about this with Nico. And
and if you have a good rapport with them, it sticks out. So
what was your question?
My question was, the first time it was like the basic, how did you get started with the company? But I was legitimately interested in that. And one time I asked, just because I was super interested, I asked where she was while she was conducting this interview, because I was like, I know this is a weird question, but I always wondered how the recruiters worked. So like, do you get to work from home? And she was like, yeah, I do actually. I'm in my office right now.
I actually saw that post. Someone posted on one of the DCP page on Facebook, an application for a recruiter position.
No way, really?
It's a part-time position, and you can work remotely for it.
I would love to do that.
And I put my email down as I'm interested in doing this, but you can't apply as a college student. So I have to wait till I graduate.
I'm definitely gonna apply for that. I think that would be so fun.
It's a part-time position, and it's seasonal. So
really, oh yeah.
Cool thing, very side note, but cool thing with seasonal. If you're a seasonal cast member for Disney, you only have to work a certain amount of hours during the year, and you still get all the benefits as being a full-time cast member. Or not like all the like health benefits and everything, but like all the in-park benefits, the discounts. You get to go to the parks, free admission whenever you want.
Wow, seasonal's the way to go.
Yeah, a lot of DCP people, after they're done with their Disney College program, they either extend their program, go full-time, go part-time, and the most common is probably go seasonal.
Yeah.
So they'll go back to school and then come back and work during the summer.
Yeah.
Which is what one of my roommates did with entertainment.
It's a good plan. I mean, especially if you want to stay involved in the company and maybe work your way up.
Yeah, and if you, especially people who live near Disney or have easy access to get to Orlando.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I guess we'll tell you a little bit of our personal experience with the application process. You want to go first?
Yeah, so I applied once actually technically twice, so I'll get into that. But I applied, my first time applying was during the spring of 2018, which is what I got. I was totally super interested in the whole Disney College program. I first learned about it, I think like freshman year of high school, when I saw some vlogs on YouTube, and that's what really got me really interested into Disney parks in general. I was like, wow, these people get to live in Disney World, go to the parks every single day. That's just the most insane thing to me, and they look like they're having the time of their lives. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. I'm like, you get to go to college and then take a semester off and play in Disney World for a whole semester. So like I said, when I was applying for colleges, I really didn't know where I wanted to go, but I knew I wanted to do the Disney College program. So I continued to do my research throughout all of high school, looked at interview questions, basically everything what the Disney College program was. And I eventually went to a school where they didn't really give me a solid answer of if people get credit or not. They said, yeah,
same.
Maybe. Some people have done it. I don't know if they get credit or not. Depends on your situation. Is basically the general answer you'll get. It says it depends. Unless there's some schools that actually really have a partnership with Disney and they give you full credit.
Yeah, like Clemson. Clemson does that.
Yeah, so it really depends, honestly. But I ended up loving my school so much, and I kind of put Disney College program in the back of my head and was like, I can't leave my school for a whole semester. I can't do that. And then I ended up going on a trip with my family during the summer of 2017 to Disney World. And I talked to some of the cast members who, on their name tag, it says a university, so that's how you know they're a college program. And I talked to them about their experience, how they like it. They're all just like, yeah, I get to go to the parks every day. It's a tough job, but it's totally worth it. So I was like, and I had the time of my life that trip, so that's what really convinced me to kind of look more into the Disney College program and give it a try and apply. So I applied. My applications usually come out how many months before? For the spring one, for the spring program, it came out in August, I think, right?
Maybe. Yeah, it did. It was end of August.
Came out at the end of August,
End
right?
of August, yes.
I think I applied like the first week of September because when I applied, I was still kind of in that mindset. Even though I knew I had that great experience in Disney the summer before and knew I wanted to, I was more interested into applying again, I was still on the edge of not really wanting to leave my university. So I still applied, just kind of to apply to see what happened. And I ended up doing the initial process online. I took it very seriously still. And then I got my WBI, got through that. Actually, weird. Also, WBIs usually come out right after you submit your application. You usually get a chance to do your WBI opens, right? For most people, right after.
No, I think it definitely depends because both of mine, I got it. The first time I got it 3 weeks after I applied.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I thought it was weird that I got it like a week after. Or no, I got it like 4 days after.
It definitely depends on the person, I think. And the second time I got it like 2 days after, I think. So I really think it's random.
Okay, I really know. Definitely with phone interviews, it depends. It takes longer.
Yeah.
To get that interview or that email for the interview.
Yeah.
So basically, I did my phone interview. I kind of prepared. Like I was still in that mindset of I don't actually know if I really want this, but I want to give it my all. But I actually didn't. So I was like, I did so much research in high school. I'm not really doing any research. I'm not gonna watch. Not gonna watch a 30-minute video of a person getting interviewed and research how they got it and what they did great. So I'm like, I'll just do a general layout of here's some questions I know they're gonna ask, and here's some answers. I did my research on my roles. So with my application, I put high interest in custodial because that was a highly sought after role. I didn't do high interest. I definitely didn't do high interest. I said
you said interested, probably
somewhat interested.
Yeah.
In that, and I put. We'll go into the. I guess we'll save this for when we actually go into the roles.
Yeah.
But yeah, went through that whole process, got my phone interview, and then they usually say it's gonna take a couple weeks for them to hear back after your phone interview. I heard back within I think exactly a week, and I remember where I was. I was at my on-campus job in our room just hanging out, and I got this interview or I got this email from Disney, and everyone who's gotten it,
when you get the
email it says like congratulations or something, and
it'll say congratulations or thank you for applying in the subject line,
and I'd say congratulations, and I'm like, oh.
Game
This
changer.
is happening. Because I wasn't expecting a couple weeks.
Right.
And I got it, and I opened it up, and then it says, congratulations, you just got into the Disney College Program Spring 2018. Click on your offer letter on your online portal to see what role you got. Like, oh my gosh.
Wow, what did I get?
Wonder what role I got. Open it up. It said in bold, your role is custodial.
Yay.
It's like, oh. All right. I had mixed feelings on custodial, which I'll get into when we talk about roles.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my general reaction to that.
It's a pretty good application process.
Yeah. Also, something to point out in the phone interview, they will go over the roles that you said you're interested in, and they say, "Well, do you have any experience doing this?" When they asked me about custodial, I'm like, well, I clean restrooms like every other night when I closed the golf course when I worked as a cart attendant. So I cleaned one restroom.
Yeah, mine was I worked for a barn, and that did.
And as soon as they hear like, oh, you got some experience, signing you up.
Bam, you are.
Here's your pan and broom.
Yeah.
Also, why I mentioned earlier that I've kind of applied twice. I also this past summer, I applied for the alumni program. So after you do a full Disney College program for a semester, alumni, people who did the program, are given the option to work just during this summer term from like May to August. Now normal terms go from spring or fall. So the spring term will be January to May. Fall will be from August to
December?
January.
Yeah.
To January. You're also given the option to see if you want to do fall advantage or spring advantage. So if you do spring advantage, you'll start at the same time in January and go all the way through the summer. So January to August. If you do fall advantage, you'll begin at the beginning of the summer in May and go all the way to the end of the term in January. So I applied for the alumni program. It was very last minute. It was really weird this year. This past summer when they opened up the application, they usually leave it open for about a week. For this year, they opened it up for I think 4 hours.
Oh my god!
Because I was looking on the alumni page on Instagram, and they're like, applications are now open, and then I said due to, and then like 2 hours later, they're like, due to the amount of applications, we're closing it at 12 p.m. I'm like, oh. And I was at work, not really doing anything. I was on campus at work. And I'm like, I guess I'll apply. I'm not really doing anything. So I just filled out. My application was already saved from previous applications for the most part, like the resume part. That was all typed out. Then I said what roles I'm interested into again. And then I ended up getting the WBI. Got that. Got my phone interview like a week and a half after. And I ended up getting it. And I got the offer to work for the summer of 2019, which is now. I could be there right now from May 22nd to May 20th to I think August 9th or something like that. And the role they gave me was custodial again, even though I specifically said in my interview, I'm like, I would be okay with doing custodial, but I really want to try something new.
Nope.
And I said the other roles I want to do new, maybe merch. Maybe attractions. Maybe I'll even give quick service food and bev a try. And they said,
Disney
what about custodial?
Other plans for you.
I'm like, well, maybe I would consider it. And basically it came down to, I already did that. I really wanted to do the programming because I loved my experience doing the program in spring. And it came down to I wanted another experience under my belt, so I ended up taking a different internship that was more catered towards my major, and I unfortunately had to turn it down, but that's a whole different saga I won't go into. But yeah, Rachel, you want to talk about your application process?
Sure thing. So my process is a little bit similar in the fact that I have wanted to do it for as long as I can remember. I found out about the Disney College program in middle school. And I was hooked, absolutely hooked. I made playlists of YouTube videos, and I would watch them all the time. And I knew it was just like the one thing in my life that was absolutely set from the time I was in middle school. I know I want to do the Disney College program. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what school I want to go to, but I know I want to do this.
I remember the first time I met you, or not the very first time, but like the first week with the knowing you in the break room. We were talking about our, I don't know how it got brought up, but I basically said, "Oh yeah, I've been wanting to do this since high school, since freshman year of high school," and you're like, "Well."
Did I one up you?
I've been wanting to do this since probably like middle school. I'm like, oh. So this means a lot to you. Okay.
Sorry that I one-upped you. Yeah. I was probably just so excited that someone else had wanted to do it for so long, but also I guess I had to flex a little bit.
It was a big flex.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, so similar to Nico, when I was touring all the colleges that I was touring, which was like 19, so it was ridiculous, I asked almost every single admissions office, can I do the Disney College program? And I based my decision off of whether or not they would let me. So I ended up at a school that told me I could, which was
you based your college decision.
Yeah, low key. Like there was another school that I would have considered going to, but they told me that I wouldn't get any credit for the Disney College program, and I wanted to do it so badly.
You knew you had to get credit?
Yeah, well, yeah, because my parents told me that I could only do it if I got credit for having an internship. So I didn't base I'm not saying that I based my entire college decision off of it, but it was a huge factor. And so I actually applied twice. The first time I was a freshman, and I treated it kind of as a practice round. And I have the entire process documented. Every single moment I like filmed or screenshot, just because I wanted to remember it. So I got through all the process or all the different stages of application that time. And unfortunately I didn't get in, which made sense. I mean, I was a first semester freshman, so, I was still really young, and I wasn't too terribly torn up about it. A little torn up, but not too torn up.
I was gonna say, you have like a montage video scene with all your preparation.
Yes, I do have a montage video.
You seem pretty invested.
Yeah, I got a little too invested. I knew it was a practice, but also I was secretly kind of holding out for it. So I didn't make it that time, but the next time I applied, I was kind of going through it a little more like, I don't know if I'm gonna get this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. So I'll just be a little more lax about it. But the day applications dropped, I did apply that day, because I already had everything filled out. So I was like, oh, why not? I'll just do it. And I ended up moving on to the WBI. I took that, and then I did my PI. And I still remember it so well, because I documented all of that as well. And I did record my whole phone interview, by the way. There's a 20-minute video somewhere in all of my files of my Disney College program interview. And then I was in class when I got the email, and it was, I think, a week later, and I got a email from the Disney College program. I didn't look at the subject title.
You have a video of that, don't you?
Not of me in class, no.
No. Are you finding out?
Oh, yeah, I do have a video of me finding out. Yeah,
it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
go subscribe to Walton Around.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I cry in it. It's fun. But I got the email, and I started shaking uncontrollably in class, and I had to sit through the rest of class. I left, sprinted home, basically, because I still hadn't looked at the subject line. And then I set up a camera. My roommate came and sat with me just in case, because she was a little worried about me. I was pretty worked up. And I called my mom. I FaceTimed my best friend. It was a big thing.
That is a big thing.
It was a big thing. And then I got in, and I started crying, and I looked at the roll, and you can hear it in my voice. It's so funny, because I'm crying of happiness, and then I open the letter, and it said in bold, custodial, and I went, oh, I got custodial, and then started hysterically laughing. And I almost didn't take it because of the role.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you opened up that letter, was your reaction, I'm gonna do this? Or when you saw, actually, when everything was processed, that you got in, you got custodial, was you like, I'm still gonna do this? or was there ever a moment where you're like, I have to think about this?
There was a huge moment where I had to think about this. And also, my parents actually told me no. They told me that they didn't want me to do it because it had nothing to do with my education, and custodial wasn't the role they thought I was going to have. So they told me they would rather me not do the Disney College program. And I ended up telling them, I'm so sorry, I respect your opinion more than anything, but this has been my dream for 7 years, so I'm going to do it. Very glad I took it.
Yeah.
It was 1,000% worth it.
I was very close to not taking it.
I was too, yeah. I accepted it on the very last day that you could accept it.
I think I did too. I got, like I said, my reaction was very different. I did not set up a camera and go home and everything. I was just sitting at work. I opened up the email, second graders. I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't even immediately go check out my role, even though I was literally doing nothing just hanging out at work. And,
yeah.
None of my friends, like good friends, are really around, so I just kind of texted them, like sent them a screenshot saying, "Oh, hey, I got in." I sent it to my family, like, "Oh, congratulations."
Yeah.
And I initially said, "Oh, I don't think I'm gonna do it. I don't think I'm gonna leave Dayton for a whole semester."
Mm-hmm.
And everyone just kept telling me, you need to do it. This is what you should do. This is what's gonna make you so happy. This is what you deserve. You belong in Disney, basically.
Wow, that's our after getting ins are very different. Because I mean, I was also at a point in my education where I needed a break from it, and I needed to spend a little time off campus.
Yeah, and a lot of people do use Disney as a break because
yeah.
a lot of the people are there.
Yeah,
they just need a semester off.
Well, yeah. I still took classes
it's not a
while I was
semester
there.
off too.
It's not a semester off.
But they need a break from their university.
Right, yeah. Which
and some people never go back. A lot of people never go back.
A lot of people never go back. A lot of people transfer to UCF, and then...
AKA Disney University.
Yeah. Yep. And then they stay there forever. I didn't. I went back. I'm very happy I went back. But I did, at the time, need a break. So the Disney College program was like a huge blessing for me when it was, and... yeah, it was the greatest decision I ever made, and I'm gonna say that for the rest of my life, honestly. But that's my personal experience with the application process. So now we're gonna transition over, and I know we've mentioned that we're gonna talk about the roles so much.
Yeah.
So we're gonna actually do that.
Go in. So basically, Disney on the website, on the official Disney College Program website, under earning, they kind of lay out all the roles they have to offer. So if you want to look more into an actual quote from Disney of explaining each role, but they kind of divide it by operations roles, entertainment roles, lodging roles, food and beverage, retail/sales, and recreation.
Woo! Let's get into it.
The roles will slightly differ between the Disneyland program and then the Walt Disney World program. Like I said, the Walt Disney World program is a lot bigger, so they have a couple more role options. And then there's also high need roles, high volume roles, and then just other. The high need roles are the ones that Disney, you're going to have a better chance of getting in if you say you're interested in doing these roles.
But they're also some of the most difficult.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, those ones are going to work you.
Yeah.
There's also high volume roles, which they have a lot of openings for, and they know they're always going to need these roles. So yeah, we're going to go into that. Let's start off with the operations roles.
Okay, so at Walt Disney World specifically, we have attractions, bus greeter, convention guide, custodial, monorail, photopass photographer, and watercraft. I'm not super familiar with all of these, but I do know attractions. So those are going to be your frontline workers who are at every ride. So if you're on a ride, all the cast members that are outside of it, inside of it, around it, they're going to be attractions. And that's a little more of it's a high guest interaction role, but it's a low, I guess, what would you say, like land covered role. You're kind of standing in the same area a lot of the time.
I don't think I could do attractions.
I don't think I could do it
You're on the
either.
same attraction all day. Sometimes you're just standing there pushing a button. So not the most exciting, or like not, you don't get a lot of change.
Yeah. I always thought that I wanted to be attractions more than anything. And so I put it so high up on my list every time. But once I actually got there, I thought, I don't know if I could stand in this one place all day. And
some attraction roles, when you get your location, you'll get like multiple rides you can work on.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Not just one.
They're like grouped. For instance, they do that a lot in Epcot. They have a lot of grouped attractions.
Yeah.
To where you'll kind of be moving around between them, but at the same time, a lot of people love attractions too. It's definitely my personal opinion. I haven't done it, but I don't know if I could stand in the same area that much.
Yeah, so some of these ones I'm not familiar with as well, but we're just going to read a couple bullet points straight from the website. Like I said, you can go more in depth if you go on the website and look up the descriptions, but we're going to start off with a bus greeter. Basically, you're greeting and interacting with guests in the resort bus loading zones.
That one's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
You greet the buses.
Yeah. Could be fun.
I don't know a bus greeter. I've never met one.
Yeah.
But I know they're out there.
Conventions guide. This sounds kind of fun. With this description, working with one or more of our theme parks, water parks, or Disney Springs,
That's
assisting in events such as the Epcot's International Food and Wine Festival, or you can work with Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, or other events cross-property. So you can be involved with guest crowd control, or escorting large groups of guests through the park from one venue to another. So basically,
so it's just like event working.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool, actually. I think I would do that.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, that would be really cool. And then we have monorail, which I've never met anyone. Well, I think I've met one person in monorail. But that's basically the same as bus greeter, but for the monorails. Assisting guests with boarding and exiting vehicles, using a radio to talk between the monorails. You know, self-explanatory as well.
Yeah. And then there's watercraft, which is operating watercraft vehicles, including onboard computers, and assisting guests with onboarding and exiting vehicles. So along the same lines, but you're going to be working with the watercraft.
It's lots of transportation.
But it says you can actually be operating these vehicles, so that could be fun.
If you want to drive a boat.
Yeah, you can drive the boats in Disney Springs, maybe, those ferries, or you can even drive the ferry from Magic Kingdom to the TTC.
Yeah. And then there's custodial, which honestly we could do an entire podcast on our role in custodial. We are going to do an entire podcast I figured.
on custodial, but
so we'll just
very brief summary. Go.
Yeah, okay, so when we were doing it, it was a very lax role where your job is essentially keeping things show ready. You have a couple different types of jobs. You can do restrooms, you can do public areas, or you can work in the corporate areas of the parks. But you're basically just the front line. Everything has to look nice cast member. It's a little bit different now. It's been changed. It's not as relaxed as it once was.
Now with this role, you'll have a lot of guest interaction, which is the big attraction to this role. Mm-hmm. You have some freedom of where you can roam around.
That's the best part, is you get to roam.
Yeah, honestly, it's not like attraction where you're in one place all day.
Yeah,
you get to roam around and you get to talk to guests. They encourage you to go up to guests and ask them if they need any help with directions or finding anything, suggestions. If you see a guest trying to take a group picture, they tell you should go take a group picture for them.
Yeah.
You get a lot of guest interaction, which is one of the best parts.
Also, one of my favorite fun facts about custodial, we can definitely go into this in its own episode, but you're one of the first lines of defense for possible bomb activity. Do you remember that? We were in training.
I remember the bomb training.
Yeah, we were in training, and we were told that as custodial cast members, we're the people kind of watching over the parks, like the first line of defense. So if you see a suspicious backpack, it could be a bomb, and you're responsible for calling it in. That's my favorite fun fact. Just like, I worked in custodial, but also I was looking out for bombs in Disney World.
I never used that as a fun fact before, but
it's a fun one. It's a fun one. First line of defense. Anyway, sorry.
And then the last operations job is PhotoPass photographer. Mm-hmm. So those are people you see with PhotoPass working for the people working for Disney, taking pictures of people in certain parts of the parks.
Yeah.
Whether it's in front of the castle at Magic Kingdom, or at a character meet
character spot. Yeah, meet and greet.
Yeah, taking pictures.
Yep.
Yeah, which is a highly sought after role.
Yeah,
definitely.
And a lot of people are in it.
One of the more competitive ones.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, now we're going to move to entertainment. I'm going to let you take over this one because you are big in entertainment.
Entertainment is my favorite thing about Disney. No, I'm not going to say that. It's one of my favorite things about Disney World.
I mean, that's what they're known for. They're an entertainment company.
That's true. So there are 3 different roles that you can have within entertainment in Walt Disney World, and they are character attendant, character performer, and costuming operations. So character attendant, those are going to be the people in blue at all the character meet and greets that you go to. They are also sometimes character performers. They double as attendants, and they're just there to watch over everyone in the process. That means they're watching over their characters, they're watching over the kids who are meeting them. They're just there to help, do whatever you can, because princesses cannot scold children, so they're there for that. And then there is character performer, which is probably one of the hardest roles to get as a college program participant, because you have to audition as well. So not only do you have to apply and get in, but you have to audition and be cast at that audition. I have been to an audition. It was super fun. Maybe I'll talk about it on another podcast.
Definitely should.
Yeah, okay. But they're crazy fun auditions, and everyone has such a good time. But it's also very difficult to make it, to make the cut. And they don't usually take a lot of people because they're looking for very specific heights and roles, and they don't always have roles available. But that's character performer is a really fun one. And then you have costuming operations. I know this more as a professional internship actually than a college program role. I've never met someone in the role. But you're basically working in the costuming facilities. So every park, including Disney Springs, has its own costuming facility. And costume means uniform in Disney. So like when Nico and I wore our clothes that we wore to work every day, that's called a costume in Disney, not a uniform. So for costuming operations, you're working with everyone's costumes. And that's basically entertainment in a nutshell for you.
All right, let's move along to lodging. I'm going to go over this one pretty quick because not a lot of people do it too. There's bell service, dispatch and greeter, which is basically greeting at the front of the resorts, I believe. Front desk, which is like working at the front desk at any resort. You're going to be working at one of the Disney resorts as front desk, checking people in, answering the questions, everything like that. And then house person, aka housekeeping, which is going to be a housekeeper, like making the beds and everything.
Yeah.
That's one of the few roles where you can accept tips, which is you get a little extra cash there.
Yeah.
And those are one of the high need roles, like we mentioned at the beginning. If you put your high interest in that, there's going to be a higher chance that you get into the program through that role.
And again, hot take, but I think that's going to be the hardest role.
Oh yeah.
Out of all of them to do. So just be aware of that.
If you like cleaning rooms, go for it.
Yeah. And also I've heard that it's a very it's a very independent role. So custodial is a very independent role because you're in charge of your area and you're the one that's allowed to roam and do whatever. And housekeeping is very similar to that.
I would say that one's more than custodial.
Really?
Independent? I mean, I got to talk to you all the time. Custodial.
Yeah, you're right.
With housekeeping, I think you're the only person cleaning the room.
Right. I always wondered if they were allowed to like listen to music while they're cleaning. I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Not.
But
not part of the Disney look.
Yeah, not part of the Disney look.
Right.
Okay, so the next one is food and beverage, which is a big one in the Disney College program. So the first role within that is seater, which not a lot of people get. And that's more, I believe, in the dine-in locations, correct? Like the ones where you sit down. So you're going to be the person at the front, at the podium, seating people. This is, again, kind of a hot take, but I've only heard horrible reviews of that role.
Really?
Yes, because think about it. If you are going to a character dining and it's raining and you're having the worst day of your life and the first cast member you see is the seater and they're late with your reservation and everything is going wrong, you're going to attack them. You know, I think that the normal guests are not known for being polite in Disney World. So I've just heard my friends who are seaters say that it was horrible because they got yelled at all the time. And then the second one is quick service food and beverage, which is probably the most filled role in the Disney College program. And that's going to be working at the quick service locations everywhere in the resort. So that includes the resorts, Disney Springs, all the parks. I think the water parks. Can you be quick service in the water parks? Yeah. I've never seen a quick service place, but I know they're there. And you're going to work everywhere. In the kitchens, out in the house, busing. And that's definitely one of the more difficult roles, I think. I had a couple roommates that did quick service, and they would come home with burns on their arms sometimes, and I didn't hear the greatest stories. But some people love it. Yeah. And it's definitely your own thing, and you're moving around a lot.
I mean,
so.
We had 2 of my roommates were quick service food and beverage, and there's definitely good days and bad days, as with any other job. But there's good days where you don't have a lot of things happening, or you make a magical moment, and that'll make your day. But you have bad days where all the guests are in bad moods, and they just want their food as quick as possible, and they get mad at you for it. All right, let's move along to retail and sales. So these are going to be your Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique / Pirate League, merchandise, and vacation planner. You want to talk a little bit about Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique?
Yeah, I know a ton of people who are involved in Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, which is crazy because it's such a tiny volume of people who actually end up getting it. There are only 2 locations, Disney Springs and Cinderella Castle in Magic Kingdom. And you're in charge of the princess makeovers. I'm sure you've seen the little girls running around the parks with the buns and the little clip with Mickey on it, and the princess dresses and the pixie dust in their hair. That's all the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique girls. They do a marvelous job. That's BBB.
You can do merchandise. As you know, Disney has a lot of stores. Basically, any ride that you ride will end in a shop for the ride. So you can work in one of those shops, anywhere in any of the parks, or Disney Springs, or anywhere on property, basically, where they sell merchandise. So you'll be up there selling the stuff, or working the cash register, which is one of the things they'll ask you to in your app. If you say merchandise, they'll say, do you have experience working with the cash register?
Yeah, I got that too.
You can be folding clothes, working inventory, anything like that.
Right.
And then vacation planner. So this is, I don't really know much about this, but this is also from the website. So you're going to be selling tickets, ticket media to guests, achieving monthly sales goals, and maintaining minimum sales requirements. So basically working at those desks where they sell, those booths where they sell the tickets.
Yeah.
And also, helping guests plan out what to do that day, and giving them tips and tricks about that.
I feel like it's kind of similar to guest relations in that you're just helping them with their vacation in general. And I'm going to say this a billion times. I feel like you would be really good at it, Nico.
I considered it, but the part, it sounded like a lot of the job was just sitting in the booth selling tickets.
Right. You have to have a really strong knowledge of Walt Disney World if you're going to be a vacation planner for them. Because people have a bunch of questions about what to do and what this means and what this means and what's a park hopper versus a one day, So you definitely have to know a lot about it. But again, I think you'd be good at it. But, that's vacation planner.
Yeah, so let's move along to the last section, which is recreation. So there's children activities, lifeguard, or recreation attractions.
Children's activities is actually more in the resorts, I believe. That's usually where I saw them. Oh yeah, working with children visiting our resort hotels. So it's always going to be in the resorts. And that's basically just, they have games that are set up all over the resorts for the kids, and you're in charge of facilitating those.
And then you have lifeguard, which is also a high-need job. Basically working at any of the resorts or water parks, sitting by the pool, working as like a real lifeguard. And
you do have to take a test for that. You have to take a swimming test to be in lifeguard. And you have to take a physical test to be custodial as well. What were the other ones? You have to take the physical test for custodial and maybe housekeeping.
Basically anything where you have to lift, you're required to lift stuff during your job.
Yeah, you have to take a test when you get there.
Lift or perform some type of safety critical, I don't know.
They have like a little...
something physical, basically.
This little PT place where they cart you in a bus and then they make you pick up things and they're like, all right, you're good to go.
I drove myself to it.
Did you really? Yeah. I took the bus because I was scared that I was going to end up in the wrong place. But anyway, the last one is recreation attractions.
So that's basically assisting with guests at the recreational areas around property. So that can be water slide operations, tower rentals, watercraft rentals, anything like that. The putt courses. So
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know this was a role.
Really?
Yeah, I completely forgot this was a thing at all.
Yeah, looks like it'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all the roles that they offer at Walt Disney World, the Walt Disney World College Program. Pretty much something in there with all your roles. It's something unique working at Disney. No matter what role you have, you can pretty much find a way to make what we call magical moments, is where we can make the guest day doing something through our power of our role to kind of make a special experience for our guests. So
that's the best part of it.
Yeah.
Too.
To give you an example, an easy way to make it a magical moment for guests with quick service food and beverage. Like I said, that's an intense role where you're working hard pretty much around the clock all day. But they do give you a chance to, sometimes your manager will go up to you and say, hey, give that kid a magical moment sitting out there if it's their birthday or something. And you'll give the opportunity to give them like a free ice cream cone and say, here, Mickey told me to give you this. He knew you're visiting the park, and here's a free birthday cone.
Magical moments are the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I love them. Sometimes I would get water bottles as magical moments. When Nico and I first started dating, we would have cast member friends in the parks who would give us magical moment desserts. That was great. I loved that.
What was it?
When we got the sundae from John, and then sometimes Eric would give us a churro too.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you have friends who are quick service food and beverage,
you get magical moments all the time.
Yeah, it's your birthday every day. I would literally go to the park by myself and go over to Tomorrowland where my roommate worked, and he would be like, "Happy birthday, Nico!" And then when it was my real birthday, I got like so many magical moments.
Wow.
And, like, I got one from my roommate who worked in Fantasyland, one from Tomorrowland, and I got from people like cast members I didn't even know, just because I was wearing my birthday button. I got free tiramisu, free ice cream.
Wow, look at you go.
When I went to a sit-down restaurant, what is the one at the top of Main Street, the Lady and the Tramp one?
Oh, Tony's.
Yeah, when I went to Tony's, they knew it was my birthday, and they gave me our waitress after the meal said, "Let me go. Our friends out back want to give you a quick present." And they gave me a card, and it was with a autographed, or like a paw autograph from Lady and the Tramp.
That's so cute.
It said happy birthday. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think magical moments are arguably the best part about being a cast member.
Yeah, definitely.
When you're working, besides being able to go to parks for free and stuff, that's great too.
Yeah, so that pretty much wraps up what we're going to talk about for this section of our DCP info. Our next episode, we're going to talk about housing, and then the first week at Disney, which involves casting, traditions, and training, and then just general work life at Disney. And then we're also, possibly in another episode, we're going to talk about our experience during our Disney College program with our favorite rides, how to do the basic life of a Disney College program member, and how to do park days there, and the perks of being a cast member. Which
there are many.
Yeah.
Very many. So I'm excited to keep talking about the Disney College program because I feel like I do that all the time anyway. So I'm happy that you're here to listen to us talk about it and not have me force my friends to listen.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much wraps up episode 2 of All Ears, featuring our episode on the Disney College program. All right, well, this has been Co-World.
And this has been Waltzing Around.
We're signing off. As always, Co-World is your world.
Thanks for waltzing around with us.
Peace.
Some imagination, huh?